This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. Now, I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay. And we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
They'll throw on first down with Favre. Got a man, it's Jerry Rice. Look at this, middle of the field, a breakaway. And all the way in for the touchdown. Jerry Rice, 75 yards. And the NFC strikes quickly for 6. Wow, first play in the game, CD, 75 yards. These people, they haven't even filed in yet from the tailgate lots.
Everyone talks about starting out fast. Everyone talks about getting explosive-type plays. That was absolutely a thunderbolt. And on the defensive side, you spent all week scheming, all week preparing, and it seems like it goes right out the window.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that makes the score 7-0. One of the shortest drives you'll ever see. One play, 75 yards, 6 points. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Fielded right around the 8. And he returns this to the 22. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
They keep it on the ground. Allen again. And running room scarce here. He's going to be stopped in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. So 7 yards from the first down here as they come up to the line of scrimmage. Throwing is Brady on third down. And he cannot get rid of it. The NFC getting in there for the sack. Multiple players combined for their team's first sack of the game. The start of this game shaping up nicely on that visiting sideline.
Yeah, how about that? You get your points on the opening drive. Then you get a big sack there on third down. And you make the home crowd go, shh.
There is a hush indeed. On is the Hall of Famer Ray Guy to punt this away on 4th down. Here's Hester. An excellent return that time, 26 yards. And the NFC is going to have a short field as they take over 1st and 10. Well, the NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. Fights through it. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. It's a gain of 11 yards that time, and it produces a new set of downs. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
A nice run there by Sanders on 1st down as he'll wind up with a gain of about 7 before he's brought down. So they'll come up after the gain of 7 on a 2nd and 3. Now Favre. It's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
2nd down, and back they go to Sanders. Evades him at the 10, and he is in. Touchdown NFC. A 12-yard touchdown run as his guys are able to extend their lead. Another impressive drive, so they're 2 for 2, 2 touchdowns. Charles, a great start to this ball game for them.
And one of the words that's really worked its way into our lexicon is stacking. They've stacked momentum each time out, and not only on offense. Between those touchdowns, defense held, forced a punt to get the ball back, and they played awfully well in this one. Both sides playing at optimum level.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that'll make the score 14-0. 1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead in the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. The NFC with the football here to begin the 2nd quarter. Anderson now to kick this one away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. Now, the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
So after the run for no gain, here's 2nd and 10. Brady now to throw. And this is incomplete. Oh, it looked like he had a pretty good line on that one. That would have been a big play, but he could not pull it in. The threat of a second straight punt to start the game is looming as they come up 3rd and 10. Now Brady. Trying for Brown, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Jalen Ramsey.
And I think this is a situation where quarterback coach in the sideline is going to talk to a signal caller and say, listen, it's 3rd and long, and it's still early in the game. Let's not force things here. If we don't feel good about it, let's just check something down and punt the football.
The NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
Favre's throw complete there to Rice. Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, in 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, in the NFL were about to go on.
Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on 1st down. On the counter now, it's Sanders. And this will leave him a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on 1st down. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about this great lineman he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks.
That's into a crowd and intercepted. Picked up by Rob Woodson. And the return will stop right around the 25.
But that's the kind of interception that can save a game right there. They're already down 2 scores. Huge play, slowing down what was going against them.
I was thinking the same thing. You get down 3 scores there at this stage, could be in for a long ball game. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap he had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Michael Strahan. It'll go as a loss of about 8 as he gets in there to drop him. When you're down a couple of scores like this, CD, you can't afford too many plays that go in the wrong direction like that one.
Yeah, when you take a good look at it broadly, sacks are better than giving up an interception. But where they are on the scoreboard, they've got to get rid of all of that and just create positive plays for themselves in order to have a chance.
Creeping up on a minute to play in this first half. A run right side, it's Bettis. And he'll take this up only to about his 18-yard line. Just a 1-yard gain on the play, and that'll be the call to the punt team as it's 4th down.
When they got off the field on 3rd down, an excellent job, an excellent defensive series. We always talk about adjustments, and usually only at halftime. But the best teams adjust series to series. And on that series, they adjusted so well that they got the job done in fine style.
Here's Ray Guy now. Oh, good move. A nice return there of 11 to help mitigate a good punt. And there'll be time for maybe one final play before halftime. So even though it's 1st down, here's the field goal unit on now to try to get 3 before halftime. This will approach NFL record territory. It's a 62-yard attempt. The Hall of Famer's kick is good, and that will extend their lead even further. Well, I don't know if you ever go into a game expecting to attempt a kick of 62 yards. Charles, not only attempt it, but make it one of the longest kicks that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not sure you ever go into a game expecting to kick one of this distance, but all the better kickers, they do dream of it, and they show what they can do in practice and convince their coaches to give them a chance. That one surely paid off.
And not wanting to risk anything here late in the half, we'll just take a knee and they'll bring the football out to the 25. The final second ticks by, and that's going to do it for the... So we are at halftime of the John Madden Legacy game, and now we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducting coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. Now the second half forthcoming from Oakland. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. And you have to think, Charles, down 3 scores already. They need to play an almost perfect second half. Oh, he rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. Picked up by Jalen Ramsey. Up the middle they go with Sanders. And he'll be taken down just shy of the red zone at the 21. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of and he is in. Touchdown NFC. A great play there. His second touchdown of the afternoon. And the NFC, they take advantage of the interception. They turn it into 6 points. So they're able to capitalize there on the short field, and that might prove to be the score that turns out the lights.
The party's over. Oh, sorry about that. That's an old reference there, folks. But, yeah, they've been the better of the 2 teams by far, and that's great complimentary football right there. Defense gets the turnover, sets up the short field, and the offense goes right out and scores, open up a pretty sizable lead.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And the lead is now 24. They had the short field, and they made quick work of it. Just 2 plays to get into the end zone. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. This taken in at the goal line. Ball has it knocked loose. And his guys are going to get the football at the 23-yard line. So 1st and 10. And if they score on this drive, might have to start digging into our second half blowout material. And they're going to get him. He's sacked back around the 28. The sack recorded. It's a loss of 5, and now it's 2nd down. And they go play action with Favre. Looking for the end zone. And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Jerry Rice with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And the NFC stretching that lead out even a bit further. A familiar refrain, a turnover leads to a touchdown, and that lead grows even wider now here in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, partner, I'd say there are a lot of grins breaking out on that sideline because, let's face it, they came in thinking they were in for a real fight in this game, but this one's been about as one-sided as we've seen in a while. In addition, if you're a backup, time to start stretching and loosening up. You may get some playing time in this one.
The NFC going to line up and go for 2 here. They'll try and throw for it. And they are just not going to let up as he is into the end zone here for 2 more.
Personally, I'd rather see him kick the extra point there than to go for 2, but it almost feels like there's a story within the story here. I mean, this isn't college. You know, size of victory, that matters in those games. Here, all you have to do is win by 1 point. That's all that you need. Instead, they go for it, get 2. You got some pretty ticked off folks on the other sideline now.
Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And not willing to risk another fumble. He'll sit on this one. It's a touchback. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, we haven't exactly been treated to a nail-biter in this one, CD, and if they cannot score here, this one's pretty much all but over.
Are you saying that you feel like people are starting to think about getting out of here, maybe beating the traffic in order to get home or to their final destination?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of reason to hang around, especially if they can't score here.
Yeah, you're right about that, because it has been pretty clear who the better team has been in this one. And in a league that we talk about every game being a one-score game as we go into it, watching this blowout, let's just say it's been unusual.
Now a carry for Allen. The second down play, not much better than the first, just a gain of 1 there. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together, but how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now, sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
They'll wind up losing 8 on the sack there, and it's second down. Final minute now in the third quarter. Off the play fake, here's Favre. Now he's going to throw deep back over the middle. He's got a man, complete. Touchdown. Randy Moss, 60 yards. And the NFC just continuing to pour it on. Even though he was forced from the pocket, still able to adjust, make the long throw, and it ends with a really big touchdown.
Yeah, moving to his left. The key to everything when they're moving outside of the pocket, doesn't matter which side, making sure those shoulders get around and you get back square so you can get everything on the throw and create the big play we just saw there downfield.
The NFC going to line up and go for 2 here. They'll look to throw. And he's got it. They add on more. A little salt in the wound. 2-point conversion makes this lead even bigger.
I think this is just going to be a function of the times we live in now. Very similar to the bat flip in baseball. Everyone's got to start to get comfortable with this. But to me, this is just rubbing it in. You got a big lead. Go ahead and take the extra point. One thing to keep in mind, though, karma's still out there, and sometimes has a way of catching up with you.
Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Well, we're still in the third quarter, so there's some time to kind of clean this up and make it look more respectable now. A win, that's probably gone out the window, Charles. But I don't know. Do you look at this as a time to just improve and maybe start to look towards the future?
I think you have to find something to play for, something to grasp onto until the clock runs out. But, Brandon, we've been around this game a long time. This is an outlier. You don't get many blowouts like this no matter how the game looks on paper going in. This one has turned out to be everyone's worst nightmare realized.
Well, the NFC pressure a little too much as they get home for the sack. Vita Vea, he's the culprit, causes a loss of 5, and it brings up 4th down. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden legacy game, it's the NFC stars and young Coach Madden on top. And we'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Here's Ray Guy now as he'll punt it away for the 4th time today. On the return, Hester. And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. And he will have a touchdown. Boy, he covered a lot of ground. 82 yards on the punt return. And the NFC stretching that lead out even a bit further. Well, when coaches come into a game preaching total team effort, CD, I think this is the type of ball game that they're dreaming of. It was pretty apparent early on that they were clicking in all three phases. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, sometimes in the NFL you end up with matchups like we've been watching here. And when you go back to the early drives, you can just see that one squad was on a different level in this game. Safe to say, we haven't been disappointed in watching.
And he's going to be taken down. It's a sack, and they fail on the try for two.
I know we can sit up here and dance around it a little bit, but going for two in this situation, somebody doesn't like someone else. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, what they couldn't see is you lean back in your chair and you went, yeah, that's not a good decision. They didn't get it, though.
Yeah, I don't think you just say, well, my kicker's hurt in this moment. No, okay.
The offense for the AFC set to go now. Throwing on first down is Brady. And Brady going to be intercepted a third time. Picked off by Jalen Ramsey. And he's going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown. But not only is his defense pitching a shutout, now they're contributing points themselves. I mean, they have really put together what's almost been a perfect effort here in this one.
I love how you express that. They've absolutely exceeded expectations in this one. And even better than their play, it's been their effort. Even with the win in their back pocket already, every one of those guys is still out there fighting like it's a tie game.
Anderson on for the extra point. Now this one was over a while ago as they just add on to their big lead. So the defense creating some points, not only getting the interception, but then returning it to the end zone for the pick six. So they throw the pick six. They'll get another shot at it now as this one's in the air. This will be fielded inside the 5. And he'll be brought down right on the chalk of the 20. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses have put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not.
And his pass is intercepted for the 4th time today. And they're going to set up shop at the 27-yard line. Well, partner, I got to tell you, I'm trying to think of something positive to say for this offense, but I'd have to be a spin doctor for that one. This has been a tough performance to watch.
And I think it's hard at this point to actually identify what's really gone wrong. I guess the catch-all is everything. Doesn't sound like real sharp analysis, but I don't have much else for you.
And the scoreboard just lopsided, and it's been ugly from the get-go. They'll run with Sanders up the middle. He'll take it inside the 25. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
And able to haul it in is Kittle. He's going to have the first down and then some. And he will get into the end zone. It's another touchdown. This thing is ugly.
On that third down call, the goal was to get the ball to their tight end and pick up a first down, but he wasn't satisfied with just that. They got the first down. That was the gravy. He decided to take in the whole meal and rumbled in for a touchdown.
Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And he's been a busy man, 5 for 5 now as he knocks another one through to extend the lead. So they only needed 3 plays on that drive. And it all ends with a George Kittle Kittle touchdown. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. This one taken just inside the 10. And makes it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest of the time that they play to hopefully never be in this type of situation again.
A third down now. Those last two plays indicative of how things have gone for them. Just nowhere to go on the ground and struggling to put up points. And this has been a familiar sight all afternoon as they stop him behind the line. Now Brady got to have this one. And my goodness, another interception. Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, with a pick. And he's going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown. Well, what has been a fantastic game for this defense has been rough for this offense, and certainly a signal caller, Charles, that's thrown all these interceptions. Another one there, and this one taken all the way back for the score.
Partner hoping they're holding a nice little spot in the post-game highlights to show this rip of interceptions and great plays this group has made. They've been on it from snap one.
The defense more than did its job. Now the offense is summoned onto the field as he'll go for two. Throwing is far. And boy, talk about adding insult to injury. He's into the end zone to tack on two more.
Well, I guess when you're hot, you're hot. I mean, I would just go ahead and take the extra point and move on, but apparently they've got something to prove. Almost feels like something was said this week, and they wanted to make sure that they laid it on them in this game.
So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick six, and now the kick is away. This will be fielded inside the 5. And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Well, we said it at halftime that they would need a nearly perfect second half to erase that deficit that they were facing, CD, but unfortunately, the second half has pretty much been a carbon copy of the first.
Yeah, that early lead was almost insurmountable the way their opponent was playing. And partner, they do have some good news, though. This one is getting close to being over, and they can try and hit the reset button starting tomorrow.
The throw on second down by Brady is incomplete. Brady going to try and throw on third down. Right side catch. This is Gates. And he'll be taken down, but he does have first down yardage. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Unbelievable.